Subscribe to Chug and Chow wherever you get your podcast or visit chugandchow.com.
I'm glad you've pulled up a seat, joined me here at the table for another episode of Chug and Chow, the podcast that takes you on a delicious journey across the United States to discover those character-filled eateries and watering holes that the locals love and travelers stumble upon by pure luck. I'm Todd Newton, and this podcast is based on my book, Chug and Chow, the Tattooed Traveler's 50 Favorite Dive Bars and Food Joints across America. It is available on Amazon. It's also available at chugandchow.com. And if you're new here, we're thrilled to have you. This is where we celebrate the mom and pop joints, the hole-in-the-wall gems, and the quirky establishments that serve up not just incredible food, but stories and authentic experiences you simply can't find at a chain restaurant, you know? So please do subscribe. I would hate for you to miss any of these wonderful establishments, any of these folks that we have the pleasure of speaking with. This week, we are on our way to Hays, Kansas, and a casual eating and drinking spot, complete with pool tables, dart boards, good people. It's called Sip and Spin. You're not alone if you've never heard of Hays, Kansas, but it's a place you might want to put on your must-visit list. We're talking about a population of about 21,000 people sitting right in the heart of America, about 270 miles west of Kansas City. But don't let its small size fool you. Hays has lived more history than cities 10 times its size. Hays was born in the wild, wild West, and I mean that literally. Back in the 1860s, this was one of the most violent, lawless frontier towns in all of Kansas. We're talking about a place where saloons and brothels lined the streets, where gunfights were regular entertainment, and where some of the most legendary figures of the American frontier called home. Wild Bill Hickok served as a special marshal there. Buffalo Bill Cody earned his famous nickname, hunting buffalo in those very plains. Calamity Jane roamed the streets. This was the real deal, genuine Wild West territory where fortunes were made and lost, and where Boot Hill Cemetery filled up faster than anyone wanted to count. But here's what makes Hays even more fascinating. Just as the cowboys and railroad workers moved on, the town transformed completely. Starting in the 1870s, thousands of Volga German immigrants, families who had been living along Russia's Volga River, settled there and brought with them a completely different culture. They built beautiful limestone churches that still stand today, established farming traditions that shaped the region, and added their own rich heritage to this frontier foundation. So you've got this Wild West grit blended perfectly with German craftsmanship, creating something totally unique. Today, Hays is home to Fort Hays State University, and it maintains that perfect balance of college town energy and small town authenticity, all the while honoring both its cowboy past and its immigrant heritage. What's really cool about Hays is that you can literally walk through downtown and see this history come alive. I walked block after block, reading historical plaques that mark buildings throughout the area, telling visitors what once stood on each spot. Here was a saloon where cowboys drank after long cattle drives. Over here, a general store that served both settlers and soldiers. Over there, a boarding house that might have been something more colorful when the sun went down. It's like having a walking museum where every corner seems to have a story and the past feels incredibly close to the present. And right in the middle of this historically rich downtown, at 209 West 10th Street, sits a building that embodies everything fascinating about Hays' layered history. The building now houses Sip and Spin, and this place is exactly why we do the Chug and Chow podcast. It's places like this, the reason I wrote Chug and Chow, the book. What started as a humble laundromat that was called Duds and Suds, a place where you could wash your clothes and grab a beer, has evolved into one of those magical establishments that somehow manages to be a family restaurant during the day and a, shall we say, lively community gathering spot at night. The owner, Eric, great guy, who we will speak to in just a moment, spends his time in the kitchen crafting hand-patted burgers and those legendary chicken wings that have people talking all across the state, all the while maintaining the kind of unpretentious atmosphere that makes everyone feel like a regular. But here's where it gets really interesting and why we knew we had to feature this place on Chuggin' Chow. The building itself carries whispers of Hayes' colorful past, with rumors of it once housing one of those frontier-era brothels that were so common when this town was truly wild. Now, whether that's fact or just legend, what we do know is that this establishment represents everything we love about America's hidden culinary gems. Incredible food made with pride, and a space where community happens naturally. And the stories, well, they connect us to the fascinating, complex history of America. That is Hayes, Kansas, and Sip and Spin. Eric Shuette is the man behind Sip and Spin. He joins us now on Chuggin' Chow. That's a fun sentence to say. Eric, it's good to have you here, man. Tell us about the origins of this place, because it is not your average bar.
Well, like you said, it originally did start as a part laundromat, part bar. I was just a college kid at the time, and I got hired here as a bartender. And, as a few years went on, I got promoted to manager. Then we kind of started making some changes. Took the laundromat out just to expand the bar a little more. Wind up putting in a dance floor. Kind of just tried to do a little bit of everything, offer a restaurant atmosphere, a bar atmosphere, a nightclub atmosphere. Trying to tackle all three of them in one place.
And you took that challenge on and then some, because some of the, shall we say, features or attractions, I guess, in the nightclub portion, because it is restaurant bar, and then back in the corner there you have kind of the dance floor nightclub area. You really went above and beyond there, my friend.
Well, my first guess is you're referencing the cage and those kind of things. What's funny about that is that started out, and if you really look at it, the dome of that cage is our old satellite dish back in the day when you used to have those 10-foot satellite dishes on your roof.
Right.
And we were taking that down, and this was the previous owner still before me, and he's like, I got this great idea what we're going to do with this satellite dish. And in my mind, I'm like, what, haul it to the dump? And he's like, no, it'll be like the top dome of this cage, and we'll put it around this pool right here, and people will dance in it. I got to admit, I thought, what the hell is he thinking? But it definitely becomes a center point. People come in at night when we're dancing, and, everybody wants to get in it for a little bit, get their pictures taken.
Right.
And then, we've got a old school bus as our DJ booth. And so that's pretty unique, which is, another photo op. I get a lot of people when they come through town or whatever, like, oh, hey, can we get up there and take a picture? So it's pretty unique, trying to do some things a little different than just your average typical dance floor or DJ booth, or try to get their attention some way.
Well, it's a great capper to a day of exploration. If your travels allow you to pass through Hayes, to really dive into all the rich characters and the stories that happened there in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It's quite fascinating, really, even if you're not a Wild West history buff. But that town has quite a bit of flavor of its own, doesn't it?
Yeah, this definitely was an area, we've even got a marker right outside of us, the city does, kind of explaining about how, this area, was a area of ill repute, if you want to call it. But
when I was in there, Eric, it was a chilly afternoon. I remember, because I wasn't dressed appropriately. I'm a warm weather guy, and it was in, I want to say, February-ish, and we were walking up and down the street reading all the plaques, and I'm thinking to myself, I am not properly bundled for this. So it was nice to kind of step in your place and thaw out a little bit. And your bartender was wonderful. The young lady that served us was wonderful. And I always like saying hello to the owner if he or she is around. And when I inquired, they said you had just left after the lunch rush. But your staff really leaves a great impression. And I think that's a major component of any successful business, isn't it? You must be really proud of that crew.
Well, you're absolutely right on that. Every person I interview or hire, and every time we have a meeting, I remind everybody that they're the face of this business, especially as years go on, I'm not up there bartending, and I'm more in the background a lot more than I used to be. We're a college town. You get college kids come here. They don't know who the heck I am, but it's my staff makes or breaks me. If I've got good people up front, engage in conversation and, attentive to the customers and, hopefully providing a good atmosphere for them, that's what makes or break pretty much any business, but definitely one in our industry. They can go to the bar down the street and get the same liquor or beer that we have. The only way to differentiate myself, outside of, the building, the aesthetics, and those kind of things is, to hopefully have a good staff that's taking care of everybody.
Absolutely. And another way to differentiate yourself is to offer a really solid menu. And you have really good bar food. I think we shared nachos, a couple of burgers. There were some wings. Talk about your menu, Eric, if you would, and some of the headlining items.
The wings are probably definitely number one. I feel like for quite a few years, I hear that from a lot of people across town. It's like, oh man, you guys got the best wings, so we always try to, help emphasize that. A lot of our menu just kind of come from, we're sitting here and we're just like, okay, hey, we've got these ingredients here for other things. What else can we come up with? And so we just kind of start sampling things around. And a lot of times we'll do what we call a feature of the week, where we just try something different that's not normally on our menu. And if it really goes over, hey, maybe down the road, next time we update our menu, it gets added to the menu. So it's a lot of experimenting, definitely. But I think that's kind of what, I get a lot of people, because every Monday we introduce that new feature of the week. And everybody's like, I had to come in and see what your new feature was. So it's something that kind of drives them in to kind of see what news going on.
And you do a really good job of letting folks know what that Monday surprise is going to be on your Facebook page. A lot of fun to follow Sip and Spin on Facebook. As we start to kind of bring this baby home here, Eric, Hays, Kansas is not a big place by any means. And there are benefits to living and working and owning a business in a small town, I would imagine. I think in big cities, maybe you don't really have the opportunity to get to know your customers, your patrons, your clientele on the same level or at the same depth that you might in a small town. Describe that connection, that bond that you have with your regulars, because I imagine it's a really special group of people you see day after day.
Oh, absolutely. When I was younger and first got into business, I dreamed of like anybody, like the big city lights. You think of the clubs in Vegas or whatever, and then as time has gone on, I've really come to appreciate, like you said, the size of this town, because there is a family atmosphere. You got sometimes, probably like anybody, you sit there like, oh man, I see the same people every day. But on the flip side, that's the positive about it, is like, man, I'm happy that I get to see these people every day. You can run into them at the store or whatever, and they're friendly, they're waving at you, they're asking you how their day is. So I'm very appreciative of the the local support and those bonds that we do get. You build those over years, and it makes you feel good that they want to come back, because there are other options. They could be like, oh, hey, that bartender was horrible, I'll just try the next bar, But the fact that they want to come back and keep spending their money here, especially in today's economy, yeah, you're very appreciative of those bonds that you develop.
Well, not only their money, but their time. That is equally as valuable, and that says a lot.
Absolutely.
Well, Eric Shuette, you've got a really cool place there, Sip and Spin in Hays, Kansas. I enjoyed my time in Hays, my day in Hays, just exploring. We enjoyed our time at your place, played a little pool, had a wonderful meal, had some laughs over by the cage there. So please keep it up and continued success, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Todd.
Next time, I just need to make sure I actually get up into the cage for a photo op, man. I can't believe I missed out on that.
Yeah, that gives you a reason to get back.
Yes. Eric Shuette, thank you so much for your time. Great talking to you.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
All right, there you have it. Another incredible stop on our journey through America's most authentic dining destinations. Sip and Spin isn't just serving up some of the best burgers and wings in Kansas. It's preserving the spirit of a town that's seen cowboys and immigrants, Wild West shootouts, and college students, all while creating a space where community happens naturally over good food. And Hays, Kansas proves you don't need to be a big city to have big stories. Sometimes the best places are the ones you've never heard of, where history lives in every brick building and every local gathering spot carries forward traditions that connect us to something larger than ourselves. I hope you'll subscribe to the Chug and Chow podcast, learn about more of these fun and funky spots, and order your copy of my book, Chug and Chow, The Tattooed Traveler's 50 Favorite Dive Bars and Food Joints Across America. It's available on Amazon and at chugandchow.com. Every copy sold provides 10 meals to families experiencing food insecurity. So thanks to our partners at local food banks across the country for making that happen. Until we speak again, a little further on down the road, I'm Todd Newton. Thank you for being here and travel safely.
Chug and Chow is produced by the host with the most LLC. All rights reserved.